Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Langer at the Mic Live, this Habs post-game show, and another Montreal Canadiens victory after the Montreal Canadiens shut out the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Edmonton Oilers this past Tuesday. They win another one, this time 4-1 against the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa. It's the third Habs win in a row, their first 3-game win streak since the month of January. It was Jake Allen's first win since February 6th, and it was about another minute or so, or another minute and a half away from it being a back-to-back shutouts with two different goaltenders, between Carey Price getting the shutout on Tuesday and Jake Allen potentially getting the shutout today, but it was ruined by Arturi Lehkonen taking a dumb tripping penalty in the offensive zone, and Pierre Ud Jake Siggett on the RDS broadcast talking about the blanchissage moments before Connor Brown. Yeah, it was Connor Brown scored that power play goal for the Ottawa Senators. But all kidding aside, or all jokes aside, this was a perfect road game by the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Honestly, in the first period, I feel like in the first period it was a little bit anxiety inducing because it was a little bit either way. Like, they're feeling each other out at the beginning. It was low event hockey at first, but then as the period went on, the Sens did get some chances. And one of the things I mentioned early on was that Romanov and Mete, every time the Sens had their best chances in the first, Romanov and Mete just happened to be on the ice, but they got better as the game went along. And overall, Romanov and Mete played a pretty decent game, and the Habs started getting their scoring chances right off the bat. Hey, the Philip Deneau, Thomas Tatar, and Brendan Gallagher line is alive and well. There's been a lot of flack for them being together at times this season, mostly because of Philip Deneau and Thomas Tatar not playing to their expectations. But right now, I don't know if it's because of the time off. I mean, they were also really good before the time off, but Tatar and Gallagher on the forecheck are just beasts on the forecheck. Philip Deneau is just playing much more inspired hockey. I think it's safe to say that he's no longer distracted by his contract situation. And Philip Deneau, you know what? He might not, like, he scored a goal tonight, sure. He had a goal and an assist. He assisted on the Gallagher goal in the third period as well. But the thing about Philip Deneau is his playmaking skills, his passing skills. Even while he was struggling, they're very underrated. Because, like, I remember the Toffoli goal against the Leafs, the tying goal against the Leafs way back in February in that 2-1 victory. That was because of Philip Deneau's really nice heads-up pass to Tyler Toffoli. And again, here you had Philip Deneau feeding Brendan Gallagher with a really nice pass to make it 3-0 in the third period. Obviously, great work done by Gallagher and Tatar on the forecheck. And obviously, Deneau finished a really nice rush by Tatar and Gallagher where they fed it back and forth to each other. And then Deneau finished the work with Gallagher just putting the puck to the net. So typical Deneau goal, I guess. But yeah, just he's playing much more inspired hockey in this game, the game before. And with Eric Staal in the way and Jake Evans, man, I'm going to get into Jake Evans in 1 second. But with what the Canadiens have going on at center right now, Suzuki and Kotkaniemi doing their thing. It's not like they're not quite at that level yet, but with what they're doing right now and with the way Deneau is playing, with the way Evans played tonight and last game, with Eric Staal in the way, Kotkaniemi and Suzuki, they're playing perfectly fine. Like that, the Habs will win games with that formula, because finally, I think this is like the second amount of time or second period of time this season where they're getting scoring from their depth. They're getting contribution from their bottom six and their top six. The only line that did not score tonight, I think, the only line, just making sure. Okay, so there are two lines that didn't score tonight. It was the Kotkaniemi, Byron, and Lehkonen line, but Byron scored shorthanded, so that you can kind of say that he did score. But the only line that didn't really score tonight was the Suzuki, Drouin, Anderson line. But guess what? Even though they didn't score, they were in the offensive zone pretty much every single shift and just creating chances. Anderson hit the post at the beginning of the third period. So the Habs are getting contribution from all four forward lines. And that is something that we have not seen since January. And it's really nice to see that. And that's just another example of how the time off just really benefited this team. Let's just hope they can keep going, even with the condensed schedule and the very difficult schedule coming their way. Now, let's talk about Jake Evans, man. Jake Evans, he was really good to start the season. Like him and that fourth line, I think at the time it was him and Byron and Lehkonen. Yeah, it was Evans, Byron, Lehkonen for most parts at the beginning of the season. And every time they're on the ice, they were just playing with intensity, with speed, with pace, and just cycling the puck in the offensive zone every shift. They didn't get too many goals early on the year, but every time they're on the ice, they were noticeable. But then Jake Evans and the fourth line, just throughout the month of February, just started fading along with the rest of the team. And that's why the Habs acquired Eric Stahl pretty much, is because of the fact that Kotkaniemi and Suzuki are good. They're playing well this year overall as 20 and 21-year-olds, but do you want your team to be composed of Philip Deneau, who until this point hasn't been playing his best, and three young centers going into the playoffs? Not so much. So that's why Marc Bergevin acquired Eric Stahl. But guess what? That seemed to have lit not just a spark, but an entire full-blown bonfire under Jake Evans's you know what. Because in these last two games, he's playing with an extra gear, man. And tonight, he showed his offensive ability tonight. Like, you saw some offense from Jake Evans in that second period. At the beginning of the second period, it was what was it? It was Byron on the forecheck, or no, it was Evans who was on the forecheck, and he did what Drouin did the other game. I think it was Drouin or Suzuki. Suzuki did the same thing the other game, just blindly. I mean, I don't encourage this, but if you're going to be creative and if you're going to execute it, great. But still, just blindly having the awareness of knowing exactly where Paul Byron was in front. You had two Ottawa Senators, including Thomas Chabot, just kind of like puck watching Jake Evans there. And he just turned around, knew exactly where Paul Byron was, and just fired him a pass right in the slot. All Senators forgot that Paul Byron was wide open. Paul Byron caught it, forehand, backhand, right past Gustafsson. And yeah, just that was a heck of a pass by Evans. And then, of course, later on in the third period, it was another beautiful play by Jake Evans where he was streaking into the zone, had to evade an Ottawa defender by doing a half spin move, threw the puck at the net, and guess who was there to put it in? Good old Corey Perry, man. Corey Perry with his 7th of the year. Corey Perry, who is earning pretty much veteran minimum. I believe it's $750,000 towards the salary cap, has 7 goals on the year. Like, man, and then of course you had Gallagher contribute and Deneau with those goals. So look, man, the Habs, they're playing. This was a perfect, like I said, just a perfect road game by the Montreal Canadiens. It just would have been so nice to see Jake Allen get that shutout. It was his first win since February 6th, and Jake Allen, this should have been his second shutout on the year if it wasn't for Jonathan Drouin, the turnover in that Edmonton game. But again, that was one of the few bad plays that Drouin made this year. And unfortunately, that offensive zone penalty by Lehkonen cost the shutout for Jake Allen. But just all around great game. Michael Frolik, I did mention Michael Frolik got a couple of really good chances in the first period. It was his second game in the Habs uniform. He played just a pretty pedestrian 11 minutes, 30 seconds, 2 shots, 1 hit. But I feel like he fit in on that when he was playing with Perry and Evans. But you can say again that Evans was the one really driving that line. And another thing that I found the Habs really did well defensively in this game, really, really well, is especially in the first period. It wasn't so clean in the first period. Yeah, I kind of missed drank my water there. Oh well, but any time that the Habs were aggressive, like selectively aggressive, either on the forecheck or pinching in the neutral zone, or even turning the puck over in their own zone, every time they made a mistake, they covered it up almost immediately. Whether it was Brett Kulak early in the first period, I believe it was, I don't know if it was Petrie or another forward that pinched, and it kind of resulted in a 2-on-1. But Brett Kulak just completely covered the Ottawa player who was trying to retrieve the puck, won his battle. Kulak came away with it. Odd man rush, 2-on-1 averted. Then in the second period or in the third period, you had Shea Weber turning the puck over. Shea Weber, by the way, played a really good game today again, and I think the time off helped him more than anyone else on this team. Shea Weber played 21 minutes again, not 23, 24, 25, but 21. Him and Joel Edmondson also played 20, by the way. And it was Petrie who led all defensemen in ice time with 22 minutes, along with on the line with Brett Kulak. So honestly, I really like the way Dom Ducharme is using the deep pairings. You could say maybe it was a 3-0, 4-0 hockey game, and that's partly why they were playing the deep pairings a little bit more balanced. Mete played 14 and Romanov played 15. So a little bit, obviously, more reliance on the top four, which is fine. But as long as Weber isn't playing 24 minutes, then I think 20 minutes, 21 minutes is perfect for him. Maybe even dial it back a little bit in back-to-back scenarios. But he did only have that one bad play, like a really bad turnover in the third period. But guess what? Jake Allen, who's been solid all game, made a really nice save on that play. I think it was Drake Batherson who picked up the turnover, if I remember correctly. But Allen, also keep in mind, he had to make some really good saves early on in this game as well. There was Tim Stützle, who just weaved his way through the Habs back checkers and D-men and got a really nice shot low glove side on Jake Allen, and he bailed the Canadiens out on that play. There's a shot in the second period, because I know it was on the left side of the screen, where there was like traffic in front, shot from the point. Allen just cool, calm, taking away space, got his glove on the puck at the last second, gave up a bit of a rebound, but with the traffic in front, the Habs did a really good job clearing the front of the net. And yeah, just going back to the thing what I was saying about the defensive plays. Like, so there was Allen bailing out Weber there, but also there was one play that stood out to me. It was either Paul Byron or Arturi Lehkonen that tried to break out pass in the third period and failed, and it was intercepted. And right away, like in a split second, it was not just Paul Byron or the guy who turned it over, but both Habs players converged on the Ottawa center that intercepted the pass and just completely eliminated all chances of the Sens getting a scoring chance. So offensively, 5-on-5, 4 goals, depth scoring. Defensively, just covering up mistakes very, very well, being active on the back check, active on the forecheck, active in the D zone, being defensively aware, not giving up too many chances. This is the second game. Habs gave up 17, 16 shots in the game against the Oilers. Tonight, they gave up to the Ottawa Senators. They gave up 23 shots. So 17 shots against and 23 shots against. And obviously the Habs, they took 38 shots on goal tonight. So the other, I guess the slight issue is if you want to nitpick here, the power play didn't score again today, but I feel like once they did get set up, they got some pretty decent looks. My only curiosity is why is the Suzuki, Anderson, and Weber and Anderson. Who else am I missing there on that first unit? I think Deneau is getting some time there, probably just to win faceoffs. So why are they getting the first look instead of Kotkaniemi, Gallagher, Tatar, Petrie, and Perry? But then again, Deneau is a better faceoff guy than Kotkaniemi, or more consistent at least. Kotkaniemi is much improved at his faceoffs. But yeah, that's, I guess, the only issue is the power play, and then of course the late penalty, the goal and the penalty kill, whatever, just to nitpick. But yeah, just look, Paul Byron, coming back. So we mentioned Jake Evans, Philip Deneau, but also Paul Byron right now, by the way, has a goal and 3 assists. He got another assist on one of the other goals I'm missing here. He got a goal tonight, and he had 2 assists in the last game. So, and again, you're looking at guys like Evans, you're looking at Byron, you're looking even at Lehkonen, who scored last game and who played a decent game tonight, aside from the penalty late. But you're looking at the fact that Eric Stahl was acquired and Cole Caulfield was signed to an entry-level deal, and the fact that now all of a sudden that just lit a fire under these guys' butts to play harder. So be it, and now going into this playoff, or going into this final stretch, this crazy final stretch, the bottom 6 on the Canadiens, there's going to be options. And guys are going to have to earn their ice time, whether it's veterans, whether it's rookies, guys with high cap hits, guys with low cap hits. I mean, that's another whole discussion. Marc Bergevin, I'm pretty sure you're going to see a lot of movement or significant movement between now and the trade deadline, because if Marc Bergevin wants Cole Caulfield in the lineup, well, then Armia or Evans, or maybe not so much Evans, Armia, Byron, or Lehkonen are going to have to be shipped out or put on the taxi squad. Something's going to have to give for the salary cap situation to work itself out. But all this to say, it's creating competition in the bottom 6. Creating competition in the bottom 6. And I strongly believe that that's what's really getting guys like Byron, Evans, Lehkonen, even Frolik and Perry. Well, Perry's pretty much has his role and he's keeping it. But yeah, it's just getting those guys to play a lot harder and with a lot more intensity, a lot more consistency and urgency in their game. That was the word I was looking for, urgency. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Another heck of a game. Just a perfect road game by the Montreal Canadiens against an inferior opponent in the Ottawa Senators, who the Habs have struggled with earlier this year. Credit Dominique Ducharme. 2 games against the Sens. I mean, it's only 2 games, but 2 games that Dominique Ducharme had against the Sens, they gave up 2 goals in those 2 games. That's it. So, look, they'll go out against the Senators on Saturday, and hopefully we'll see more of the same. Hopefully the Habs will keep things going, but it's just it's feeling good right now, isn't it? It's really feeling much better right now. The 10 days off, you broke the reverse retro curse against the Vancouver Canucks and the shootout overtime curse, but then you had 10 days off to recover. I mean, you like to think maybe you'd like to get that momentum, keep that momentum going, but you had 10 days off to recover. And then you come out flying against the Oilers, shut out the Oilers, McDavid and Draisaitl, and then you pretty much shut out the Senators if it wasn't for just the late period penalty and all that. And just look, they're on a first 3-game win streak under Dominique Ducharme, longest win streak under Ducharme, and also their first 3-game win streak since January. So now look, the Habs. I'll be honest, I didn't exactly check the standings, but look, the Habs, they have games in hand. I don't know if these ones are updated that I have in front of me right now. They have games in hand, and they're just winning the games they have in hand. And the Canucks, they're going to lose games because of COVID. I believe it's Adam Gaudette and someone else that is positive on that team. And yeah, just the Habs are doing their job in terms of winning the games that they have in hand on the Canucks and the Flames. It's truly remarkable that they didn't win those the games that they had, any games where the Habs are off for 10 days. But look, the Habs, they can not only, they don't have to worry as much what's behind them, and they can actually start looking at what's ahead of them between the Oilers, Jets, maybe even the Leafs. I'd say the Leafs are a little bit far ahead, but maybe they could catch the Oilers. Maybe they could catch the Jets. Honestly, who cares? Just make the playoffs, be healthy, and keep playing the way we're playing right now when you get to the playoffs. By the way, shout out to our regular viewer, Mr. Roger Delaney. A couple of comments here. Never liked Perry, but I do now. Yeah, man. Corey Perry is one of my favorite players on the Habs right now. I love the role that he plays he plays it to a T. Power play, limited time at even strength. But one of my friends on Twitter and one of my friends from Ball Hockey, Eric Heft, mentioned, a fellow goalie also mentioned how they're it wouldn't hurt to limit Perry's minutes going into the playoffs. So I agree with that strategy. And yeah, just if my internet's breaking up, my bad, might be just my laptop, but at least I see that I didn't get a notification that I'm breaking up. But anyway, pushing through it. And either way, that's pretty much all we got here on this episode of Langer at the Mic. Honestly, leave a comment. Leave a comment and share your thoughts on what you think or what has been exciting you the most with these with the Montreal Canadiens in these last 2 games since the COVID break, with the Eric Staal trade and with the Cole Caulfield signing, and maybe what other moves they can do at the deadline. Maybe they'll acquire a D. Maybe they'll call someone up from Laval to shore up the blue line. But anyway, leave a comment on what you think, and as usual, give me a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe here on my channel at Langer at the Mic, and also give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at Mike Langer. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of this Habs postgame show here on Langer at the Mic Live, and look forward to seeing you again next time.